I'll be showing today how to set up the virtual machine for Reptilian. So first thing we want to do is, well actually, before we get to downloading the image of Reptilian, we want to make sure that we have VirtualBox installed. And you can confirm by just opening up VirtualBox. And this is going to be pretty much a similar process for Windows or if you're on Mac. I haven't tried Linux to see if that's any different, but I'm pretty sure the process will be similar there. Uh, So once you know that you have VirtualBox installed, you'll be able to open up this window and pretty much this is where you'll be able to do everything you need for your virtual machine. But now that we've confirmed that we have VirtualBox, we just need to install the image, which can be installed from the Exercise Zero hyperlink right here, which is Reptilian VM image. As soon as that's done downloading, I'll probably skip forward so that you guys don't have to wait through watching this download. But um, if I don't, just go ahead and skip ahead. Let's give that a moment to download. All right. Now that it has completed installation, we can go ahead and just open up where our downloads go, which for Mac it's going to be within your downloads folder, similar for Windows. And you just want to move this image of Reptilian to somewhere that it won't get deleted accidentally. I'm just going to put it on my desktop in a folder named Images. Alright, so once we have it into the folder, we just want to double click the image, and this will actually just automatically open it up in VirtualBox. Pretty much everything that is default here is going to be just fine. There's going to be some minor tweaks that I'm going to go back in and change after doing the import here. And you can also name your box whatever you want to name it as well. I'm just going to keep it VM space 1 for now. And just give it a couple moments for it to import it. And I'm going to go ahead and skip forward, or if I don't skip it, just go ahead and skip forward to when this is done. All right, now that we have already had imported the host, we're going to go into the settings. I'm going to make a couple changes. And go ahead and go over to the network. We want to change within the settings. Let's see. The attached to, we want to change that to a bridged adapter. This will allow us to SSH into the actual virtual machine once we have it up. And that's going to pretty much work for Windows and also for Mac. Only difference is that in Windows you'll be SSHing through WSL instead of directly through the terminal window, which I'll show you in a couple moments through with a Mac. Similarly, if you have an installation on Linux, I believe you'd be able to just do it through your terminal window as well to SSH in. So go ahead and save that setting, which I forgot. One more setting. We want to go to the audio, enable audio output and input. All right. So now that we have everything configured for the host, we can go ahead and start it up. So pretty much select the host and then press start to start running the virtual machine. And while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and close out this images folder. Just remember to keep the image there. We don't have to keep the actual folder open. And I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal window. And this could take a couple moments for it to load up. Now, once we're inside of the virtual machine, there's going to be a couple things we'll want to do for VirtualBox in order to make sure that we get kind of a good experience within the machine. There's a lot of people that might get stuck, don't understand how to move the mouse and how to shut down the VM properly. I'll show you all that, and plus also where to find the IP address so that you can SSH into um, the VirtualBox. So first thing we want to do is you'll notice that the mouse isn't moving at all. Um, that's pretty much just due, you need to change like a quick setting underneath input mouse integration. If you disable that, we'll notice now that the mouse will actually move across the screen, and you can interact with it. Um, this will allow us, to navigate the user interface of Reptilian so that we can find the IP address. But before I do that, I want to show one more thing. Um, in the bottom right here of the virtual machine window, there is the escape key that you can press in order to escape out of the window. Um, for me, it's the left command key on Mac. It pretty much should be default for all people on Mac. Will pretty much have that same one. Similarly for Windows, they'll have their own different way to escape out of the window. Going back up to the devices though, not devices, the input, you can press keyboard and then you can insert Control Alt Delete. This will send the Control Alt Delete message to the actual machine so that it will bring up all the power options. This will allow us to power it off, restart it, sleep, even take a screenshot. Pretty much what you'll be concerned with mainly is powering off the machine and restarting the machine. That way, when you apply your changes to the kernel and rebuild, you'll be able to restart the host and do it in an appropriate way that won't brick it. Although I haven't bricked it by shutting it down manually before, it's advised to always shut it down properly, just like you would your own machine, to make sure that things are saved appropriately. You're not cutting any processes off early. Um, we can also press escape, and that will get rid of the power options. And we can go back into the host now, and I'll show you where to find the IP address for your host here. So if you go into the settings, give that a couple moments to load up. It's a little bit slow for me. A little bit of Reptilian's fault, a little bit of a fault of my old Mac. So give it a second for it to, yeah. We're gonna scroll all the way down and hit settings. No, sorry, not settings, system. And then you're gonna hit about tablet. Scroll down again. And you will see here is the IP address. Now, what you're concerned about is this 192.168.1.37. That is the IP address for your VirtualBox. Now, it's going to be different for everybody. I have 3 different hosts right now, and this is the one that it has for this particular one. So you're probably going to see a different number set here. If you have the same one, then I guess it's magic. So now that we know the IP address, what we can do with that is that we can now exit out of the host, go back into our terminal window, and we can SSH into that host. And how you do that is you start out with the command SSH to give the command that you want to connect to that host. Now, what user you want to connect to? We want to connect to the Reptilian user, and we're going to put the @ symbol to specify the host that we want to connect to. So Reptilian @ and then we type in the IP address that's right here on the screen. If we go ahead and press enter, it will ask us if we want to continue connecting. We'll hit yes. And now the password to the host for everybody's Reptilian host will be Reptilian. So go ahead and type in Reptilian, and we'll be connected to the host. And now this is going to be similar for Windows when you're doing it through WSL. It's going to be similar for Mac if you're doing it through the terminal window like I am, and it should be similar as well if you're doing it through Linux as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the directory that you can install the repository of the latest Reptilian kernel. So I'm going to go ahead and CD to change directory. It's going to be on the root directory /user/rep/ believe it is source. Yep. And we're going to go ahead and press enter so we can change directories to the source directory located here. Also, kind of a little fun fact, you can, when you're putting in your directory, you can put / and then you can just type in the first letter of the directory and press tab, and it will auto-complete the directory for you. So nice little fun way to find yourself around the operating system. Also, if you press tab twice, it'll list all the directories. Either way, um, we're staying in that earlier suggested directory, user rep source. This is where you're going to do your git command to clone the repository over. I'm not going to leave that up to you guys to do, just because it took me like almost 2 hours to get it installed. So um, just remember to check on it periodically. Don't let it running. It will fall asleep, and then you'll get a broken pipe, and then it won't install all the way. So just make sure when you're doing it, you're doing something else to the side on your computer to keep an eye on it to make sure things are downloading appropriately. Um, with that said, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to shut down the machine now. Oh, and before you shut down, you'll want to disconnect your SSH session that's running right now. You can disconnect by typing in exit, and then the connection closed, and you're already safely just back onto your computer in your terminal window. And now for Reptilian, we're going to go ahead and we can close that out, and we're going to go back into input, keyboard, insert Control Alt Delete. That will bring up the power options, and we're just going to power off the host now. There you go. And it will go through the shutting down process, and once the window is completely closed, you're safe. It's completely turned off. You don't have to worry about accidentally shutting it down incorrectly. Although, um, let me do something real quick. There's something you'll want to do regularly with your host once you have it configured is making snapshots. That can be done within the actual VirtualBox user interface here. This little take icon with the camera will allow you to take a snapshot. Now I'm gonna wait until this powers back on to show you guys how to take a snapshot and naming your snapshot and actually booting into your snapshot in 1 second. And that's very useful for when you're testing your changes. You can very easily brick these machines, and you don't want to accidentally brick it and not have something to back up to that was in a working state. Um, as you can see, I have two virtual machines here. One for testing out changes. I suggest you guys doing that as well, just so you get an idea of when they're grading your assignment, kind of the process they'll be running through as well to test your changes. But getting back on topic to the snapshot, the computer should be up in just a moment, and I'll show you guys that. Alright, so now that it is up, we're going to go ahead and I'll show you guys how to make a snapshot. So you're going to press this little camera here to take the snapshot. You can name it whatever you want. I'll put it as new install, if I can spell. You can add a description if you want so that it can describe more besides the name of what exactly is going on. I'm just going to leave it empty for now. And just give it a couple moments for it to save the state of the machine for this snapshot. Alright, so now that it has the snapshot saved, we're going to go ahead, and this is going to be probably the one time you're going to want to not shut down how I showed you a few moments ago. You're going to press power off the machine, and then you're going to press restore current snapshot to new install. I'm going to press OK, and what that will do will shut down the machine, and it will put it back to the state of the new install state. So when I press start, you'll notice it's restoring the virtual machine from that image that is saved. Let's give that a few moments to process through. See, instead of starting all the way from the beginning, it's started right up where we left off. And that's only suggested if you brick something. You always want to shut down the machine fully like you would your own computer. And I think that's pretty much it. And if you guys have any questions, shoot it into the general chat. The professor's really good about getting back to you guys if you have any other questions. And I hope this was able to help everybody out.